The FIFA World Cup 2022 outdid itself in all departments. Apart from the quality of football, where Argentina and Leo Messi triumphed, there was so much more in this World Cup, making fans fall in love with the beautiful game all over again. Today, we're going to take a look at the things Qatar got absolutely spot on while hosting this global spectacle. With the amount of wealth and luxury there is in Qatar, it comes as a surprise to nobody that the Qataris were able to pull this off with such aplomb. Hospitality. Starting off, the hospitality we saw at this World Cup was unmatched. The official hospitality program included guaranteed match tickets, incredible food and beverages, and several other benefits depending on the product chosen for hospitality. Fans could select their packages, which they could cater to their liking. Fans could choose from different tiers according to the price set for those tiers. Fans were accommodated brilliantly, and the people of Qatar were incredibly welcoming. The locals used to distribute food to the tourists and people visiting their country. The locals would go around the city and introduce their culture and religion to people from all over the world, which is something Qatar received particular praise for. The Qataris were incredibly hospitable in all that they did. Food. The Supreme Committee for Delivery and Legacy demonstrated its concern for guests. African, Asian, and European cuisines, vegetarian and non-vegetarian options, gourmet dining, and more were available during the World Cup. The committee made more than 400 units available for food and beverage companies to supply concession stalls across the 8 stadiums. Together with hospitality and leisure specialist Aspire Qatar Hospitality, which was hired to supervise the planning and execution of catering for the event. The hospitality options within the stadiums ranged from the opulent Pearl Lounge, located at the halfway point of the Lusail Stadium, and offered a 6-course gastronomic extravaganza, complete with live chef stations, to the street food-style dining options at the Match Club. 6 of the 8 stadiums' hospitality plans were created by Tricon Food Service consultants, who also worked on waste reduction. The World Cup was held for the first time in a Muslim nation in the Middle East. The drinking age in Qatar is 21, and it is against the law to consume alcohol and be intoxicated in public. There are just a few specifically licensed locations where alcohol is typically sold, but certain exceptions were made for the occasion. The official sponsor of the 2022 World Cup was the American company Budweiser, which actively drummed up publicity for the event. Safety. Being robbed or pickpocketed on the street is unusual in Qatar due to its country's low crime rate. However, security has been significantly increased for the tournament, with several police officers manning the stadiums and the metro. Take, a supporter from Japan, declared that he felt far safer here than in Brazil 8 years prior. As he recalled his 2014 experience, he added, "You had to check your baggage everywhere you went. This is nothing. This is a World Cup like no other. It is so different, yet it has been great," said Mike, an England supporter. "Many fans were there enjoying the event when I got to the fan festival. You don't drink, and there hasn't been any trouble. It all feels so safe. There were doubts about coming, but I have liked it," said Holly, an additional England supporter. Compared to the atmosphere at English football games, it is considerably different. There is a faint carnival mood due to the lack of alcohol and the absence of large crowds. The South Americans have more than made up for the lack of European supporters. Stadiums. 32 teams played 64 matches at 8 stadiums distributed over 5 Qatari towns during the FIFA World Cup 2022. The Lusail Iconic Stadium in Lusail, Al Bayt Stadium in Al Khor, Al Janoub Stadium in Al Wakra, Ahmed bin Ali Stadium, Khalifa International Stadium, and Education City Stadium in Al Rayyan, and Stadium 974 and Al Thumama Stadium in Doha were the venues selected for the FIFA World Cup 2022 Qatar. Doha, the capital of Qatar, is 55 kilometers from each venue. All venues, other than the Khalifa International Stadium, which has been in use since 1976, were built over the previous 3 years with the FIFA World Cup in mind. Among the 8 venues, Lusail Iconic Stadium has the largest capacity, at 80,000 people. It was also the busiest stadium, with 10 matches, including the championship game and closing ceremonies. The Al Bayt Stadium, which has played 9 games, will host the opening ceremony and the opening match of the FIFA World Cup 2022 between hosts Qatar and Ecuador on November 20th. Organization. The World Cup allowed Qataris to showcase their culture to the world, including everything from their architecture to their hospitality, in addition to hosting a well-run competition. Danielle Reich, an associate professor from Georgetown University in Washington, D.C., who oversaw research on the 2022 World Cup in Qatar, told CNN Sport that he believes sport in that country plays more of a role as a political tool for Qatar for its foreign relations than in any other country in the world. According to Haya Altani, 32, who works for Teach for Qatar, a regional organization that seeks to address issues kids could encounter in the classroom, the entire globe is now aware of Qatar. Welcoming hundreds of thousands of fans from across the region and the globe who return home carrying stories of watching the greatest show on earth has undoubtedly put Qatar firmly on the map. The primary goal of every small stage is to overcome its invisibility, Reich says. And I think for this, one can say mission accomplished. Free transportation. Given that the stadiums were spread out over a huge city, and that thousands of football fans were also there, getting to them was difficult. But Qatar also succeeded in this regard. When the fans arrived, they could choose from various transportation options, including shuttle buses, the Doha Metro, taxis, and ride-hailing services like Uber and Careem. Fans could go to their accommodations and tourist attractions in the heart of Doha thanks to the shuttle buses from both airports. Complimentary shuttle services linking fans to various areas along the B Ring and C Ring roads and connecting lodging locations to activations were available between the Souk Waqif metro station and Al Bida Park. These buses' schedules and itineraries were available online. On November 1st, a vehicle plate management system went into effect in the heart of Doha. Al-Khafji Street in the north, C Ring Road in the west and south, and Cornish Street in the east made up the surveyed area. Vehicles with available and black private transportation license plates were directed away from central Doha under the scheme, which was trialed every Friday from 3 p.m. to 10 p.m. through October 28th. Throughout the competition, this was in use every day. Final thoughts. It was a World Cup to remember for Qatar, and we hope fans of other countries can say the same as well. It was an experience of a lifetime, and every fan in Qatar during this time probably had the time of their lives. On to 2026.